Welcome to the Silent Crime Archives channel. Today we're unraveling a chilling story filled with intrigue, betrayal, and unthinkable tragedy. This is the haunting case of a couple who embarked on a journey of indulgence, only to vanish into a web of lies and secrets. Buckle up, because this one is as shocking as it gets. Our story begins on March 6th, 2010, aboard the luxurious cruise ship Tropical Escape. This wasn't just any cruise. This was a haven for couples seeking to escape the ordinary, a chance to explore desires and fantasies without judgment. Sailing through the breathtaking turquoise waters of the Caribbean, the ship promised paradise. But behind its glimmering facade, darkness was lurking, waiting to surface. Ethan and Lily Parker stood on the deck, soaking in the tropical breeze. Their hearts were a mix of excitement and nervousness. It was finally time for their much-anticipated adventure. They had discovered this unique cruise during a late-night internet search, drawn in by its reputation for offering a space where couples could reignite their spark. After years of marriage, Ethan and Lily felt something was missing. They wanted more, a chance to reconnect and rediscover the passion they had once shared. Lily had stumbled upon the cruise one sleepless night, and with a bit of hesitation, shared it with Ethan. To her surprise, he agreed. This trip, they hoped, would be the answer. That evening, the couple joined the grand welcome dinner in the ship's opulent dining hall. The room was alive with music, laughter, and the gentle clinking of champagne glasses. Couples dressed in their finest sat at elegantly set tables, the air buzzing with anticipation of the week ahead. It was there that Ethan and Lily met Mark and Sophie Williams, a charismatic couple who introduced themselves with warm smiles and an infectious energy. Mark, a tall and confident man with an easy laugh, exuded charm. Sophie, with her bright eyes and artistic flair, instantly put people at ease. The four hit it off almost immediately. Over cocktails and shared stories, they found common ground and quickly became inseparable. Mark and Sophie, seasoned cruise-goers, regaled Ethan and Lily with tales of previous adventures. They spoke of private parties, exotic destinations, and the unforgettable experiences awaiting them. For Ethan and Lily, who were first-timers, Mark and Sophie felt like the perfect guides to this new and exciting world. By the end of the evening, the Parkers felt their initial apprehension fade away. They were ready to dive headfirst into the adventure, blissfully unaware of the darkness that would soon shatter their newfound camaraderie. By March 3rd, 2010, Ethan and Lily had become inseparable from Mark and Sophie. They attended exclusive parties together, mingling with other couples in the luxurious and secretive world the Tropical Escape offered. The thrill of exploring something new gave Ethan and Lily a sense of excitement they hadn't felt in years. But cracks began to show beneath the surface. Ethan noticed that Mark was unusually possessive of Sophie, constantly checking on her and insisting on knowing her whereabouts. It was subtle at first, but soon became too obvious to ignore. Meanwhile, Lily felt increasingly uncomfortable with the way Mark interacted with her. His compliments were overly intimate, and he always seemed to find a reason to be close to her. These small tensions simmered quietly, but neither Ethan nor Lily could shake the unease growing inside them. In private moments, they talked about keeping their distance from Mark and Sophie. Yet, their initial connection with the couple made them hesitant to act. They hoped things would improve, but they were wrong. What they didn't know was that someone else was watching them. A mysterious passenger had taken a peculiar interest in Sophie. Jealousy and anger fueled this person's every move as they quietly observed the group, hiding in the shadows of the ship's vibrant and glamorous atmosphere. On the evening of March 4th, the cruise hosted a grand masked ball. The event was the epitome of elegance and intrigue, with everyone dressed in elaborate costumes and masks, adding an air of mystery to the night. The couples danced, laughed, and indulged in the allure of the evening. But the tension between Mark and Ethan lingered just beneath the surface. As the night went on, the simmering tension exploded into a heated argument. Mark, visibly jealous and angry, accused Ethan of spending too much time with Sophie. His voice carried through the ballroom, drawing the attention of nearby guests. Ethan, trying to remain calm, defended himself, but the confrontation escalated. Witnesses would later recall Mark storming out, his face a mix of fury and frustration, leaving Ethan visibly shaken. Sophie rushed to console Ethan, but the atmosphere was tense, and the night lost its charm. Beneath the glittering lights and beautiful music, something sinister had begun to unfold. All the while, the mysterious admirer of Sophie continued to watch, hidden among the crowd, their mind consumed with envy and obsession. The following morning, March 5th, a crew member discovered something horrifying, a gruesome sight that would shatter the ship's carefree vibe. Mark's body was found on a secluded deck, far from the usual hustle and bustle. He had been brutally stabbed multiple times, and his lifeless form painted a terrifying picture. The captain acted swiftly, locking down the ship to preserve the crime scene and prevent anyone from escaping or tampering with evidence. That morning, the news was delivered to the guests, and the atmosphere aboard the tropical escape shifted from joyous to somber. Whispers of speculation and fear filled the air. A paradise once full of excitement had turned into a nightmare. On March 6, 2010, Detective Joan Johnson boarded the tropical escape at its next port. Renowned for her meticulous approach and sharp instincts, she was ready to untangle the web of mystery surrounding Mark's murder. She began her investigation by interviewing the people closest to him, starting with Ethan. Ethan admitted to arguing with Mark the night before his death. He explained that Mark had accused him of getting too close to Sophie and that the altercation stemmed from jealousy. However, Ethan firmly denied any involvement in the murder. His voice trembled as he recounted the heated exchange, making it clear that while the argument had been intense, he had no motive to harm Mark. Next was Lily, who was visibly shaken. Her red, swollen eyes and trembling hands painted the picture of someone deeply distressed. She explained that she and Ethan had come on the cruise to save their marriage, hoping the experience would reignite their bond. Lily adamantly insisted that neither she nor Ethan would ever harm Mark. Her sincerity struck a chord with Detective Johnson, though every detail was carefully noted for inconsistencies. Finally, Sophie sat across from Detective Johnson. Unlike the Parkers, Sophie exuded a calm demeanor that bordered on unsettling. She admitted that her marriage to Mark was far from perfect, revealing that he was controlling and often jealous. As she described the cracks in their seemingly idyllic relationship, Sophie provided valuable insights into their dynamic, but her composure raised eyebrows. Was she hiding something, or was she simply accustomed to Mark's behavior? Detective Johnson also combed through the crime scene, meticulously gathering evidence. Every clue, no matter how small, could lead her closer to the truth. She questioned the crew and other passengers, ensuring no stone was left unturned. Security footage from the ship was pulled for review, offering a glimpse into the events leading up to Mark's untimely death. The investigation quickly revealed the complexity of the relationships on board. Secrets, desires, and betrayals created a tangled web, making it clear that this was no simple crime. One revelation shocked everyone. Mark had been unfaithful to Sophie, engaging in affairs with multiple women during the cruise, including Lily. For Ethan, the discovery of Lily's affair with Mark was a devastating blow. He had believed their experiences on the cruise were meant to strengthen their bond, not tear it apart. The revelation left him feeling betrayed and humiliated, shaking the foundation of trust in his marriage. Sophie, on the other hand, revealed that she had long been aware of Mark's infidelities. Though she claimed it no longer bothered her, the pain in her eyes betrayed her true feelings. Despite her composed exterior, it was clear that the cracks in her marriage had left deep emotional scars. As the investigation continued, suspicions grew. On March 10th, a breakthrough occurred when a passenger came forward, reporting that they had seen a suspicious figure near Mark's cabin on the night of the murder. Detective Johnson immediately reviewed the security footage. The grainy video showed a masked individual entering Mark's cabin late that night. The figure's height and build matched Ethan's, raising questions about his involvement. But Detective Johnson wasn't one to jump to conclusions. The killer's movements seemed deliberate and calculated, suggesting premeditation rather than a crime of passion. Could someone have disguised themselves to frame Ethan? The detective knew she had to dig deeper to uncover the truth. The turning point came on March 12th, when a crew member discovered a bloody knife hidden in a maintenance closet. Forensic analysis confirmed that the fingerprints on the handle belonged to David Collins, a passenger on the Tropical Escape. David, a 35-year-old artist, had been infatuated with Sophie for years. Their paths had crossed at an art exhibition, sparking a passionate but short-lived affair. When Sophie decided to move on, David couldn't let go. His obsession with her grew, and when he learned of her plans to join the cruise with Mark, he decided to follow them. Under intense questioning, David confessed to murdering Mark. His motive, jealousy and rage. He couldn't bear to see Sophie with another man, especially one as controlling as Mark. But David's confession came with a shocking twist. He claimed Sophie had been complicit in the murder. According to David, Sophie had wanted to escape her toxic marriage and saw Mark's death as the only way out. David alleged that Sophie had not only encouraged him, but had actively helped plan the murder, promising him a future together once Mark was gone. David's confession sent shockwaves through the investigation. Could Sophie, with her calm demeanor and artistic charm, truly be involved in such a heinous act? Detective Johnson wasn't ready to take his claims at face value. She needed solid evidence to confirm or deny Sophie's role in the murder. During a search of David's cabin, investigators uncovered a chilling discovery: detailed notes and sketches outlining a plan to kill Mark and even target Ethan. The drawings depicted how David and Sophie would eliminate obstacles and live happily ever after. The evidence painted a grim picture of David's mindset and his belief in a future with Sophie. When confronted, Sophie vehemently denied the accusations. She admitted to having an affair with David in the past, but claimed she had no part in Mark's murder. According to Sophie, David's obsession had spiraled out of control, and she had tried to distance herself from him. Her denial was firm, yet cracks in her composed facade began to show. As Detective Johnson pieced together the evidence, a complex and troubling picture emerged. David's notes revealed not just a plan for Mark's murder, but also intentions to harm Ethan. David believed Ethan was standing in the way of Sophie's happiness, convinced that Ethan's loyalty to Lily would make him reject Sophie's advances. The notes also hinted at Sophie's supposed involvement. Phrases like "Sophie agrees" and "our plan is set" raised questions about whether David was acting alone, or if Sophie had manipulated him to achieve her own goals. Detective Johnson pressed Sophie with these findings, but Sophie maintained her innocence, labeling David's claims as the delusions of a disturbed man. However, the circumstantial evidence against her was mounting, and the ship's passengers couldn't stop speculating. Whispers and rumors spread like wildfire. Had Sophie truly orchestrated her husband's death? As the case unfolded, David's obsession with Sophie became increasingly clear. He confessed to being infatuated with her for years, describing her as the muse who gave his life meaning. His confession was riddled with contradictions. On one hand, he claimed Sophie had planned everything, yet on the other, he admitted acting impulsively out of jealousy. The trial for Mark's murder began on June 1st, 2010, drawing massive public attention. Media outlets swarmed the courtroom, eager to uncover every sordid detail of the case. The prosecution presented a damning case against David, showcasing his confession, the fingerprints on the murder weapon, and the disturbing notes found in his cabin. David's defense team attempted to shift some of the blame onto Sophie, painting her as a manipulative figure who had used David's love for her to orchestrate the murder. They claimed David was vulnerable and emotionally unstable, a man who had been driven to kill by Sophie's influence. Sophie, though not formally charged, was a central figure in the trial. Her lawyers portrayed her as a victim of David's obsession, arguing that she had no knowledge of his plans and had tried to distance herself from him. Sophie took the stand, firmly denying any involvement in the murder. She admitted to knowing David had followed her onto the ship, but claimed she never encouraged his behavior. The courtroom was gripped by the unfolding drama. David's chilling testimony about his love for Sophie, the betrayal he felt, and his motivations for killing Mark painted him as both a villain and a victim of his own obsession. Sophie's calm responses only deepened the intrigue. Was she telling the truth, or was she a master manipulator? The jury deliberated for days, sifting through the conflicting testimonies and mountains of evidence. On June 15, 2010, they delivered their verdict. David Collins was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As the verdict was read, the courtroom was a mix of relief and tension. While justice had been served for Mark's murder, questions about Sophie's true role remained unanswered. Without concrete evidence linking her to the crime, she walked out of the courtroom a free woman, though her reputation was forever tainted. Ethan and Lily's story took a vastly different turn. The trial was an emotional crucible for the couple, forcing them to confront the deep cracks in their marriage. Ethan had been prepared to end things, unable to forgive Lily for her affair with Mark and the chaos it had brought into their lives. However, Lily pleaded for another chance, expressing genuine remorse for her actions. Desperate to rebuild the trust they had lost, the couple decided to seek therapy. The sessions were grueling, as they had to navigate not only the betrayal of infidelity, but also the emotional scars left by the murder and its aftermath. Slowly but surely, they began to understand each other's perspectives. Through the pain and difficult conversations, they started to heal. Over time, Ethan and Lily found a new kind of closeness. They acknowledged that the events of the tropical escape were a wake-up call, a once-in-a-lifetime ordeal they never wished to relive. The experience forced them to reevaluate their priorities and confront the vulnerabilities in their relationship. With open communication and renewed commitment, they vowed to rebuild their marriage on a foundation of trust and honesty. The tropical escape, once advertised as a haven for passion and adventure, became infamous for the tragedy that unfolded aboard its decks. Mark's brutal murder, David's obsessive love, Sophie's questionable motives, and Ethan and Lily's personal struggles turned the cruise into a story of betrayal, deceit, and survival. For David, the story ended with him spending the rest of his life in prison. Haunted by his actions and consumed by unfulfilled dreams of a life with Sophie, his obsession had become his undoing. Sophie, though free from legal consequences, disappeared from the public eye. Her life was forever marked by scandal and suspicion, as the shadow of Mark's death followed her wherever she went. While no charges were brought against her, whispers of her alleged involvement lingered, leaving an indelible stain on her reputation. As for Ethan and Lily, their story became one of resilience. Though their journey was fraught with pain, they emerged stronger, vowing never to let the mistakes of the past define their future. Together they worked to rebuild their lives, choosing love and forgiveness over bitterness and regret. The case of the tropical escape remains a chilling reminder of how hidden desires and unchecked emotions can unravel lives. It's a story of love turned toxic, obsession turned deadly, and the unpredictable twists of fate that can change everything in an instant. And yet, one lingering question persists. Was Sophie truly innocent? Or was she the mastermind who escaped justice? It's a question we may never answer. If this story left you stunned, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more captivating true crime tales. Like, comment, and let us know your thoughts. Do you believe Sophie was guilty?